Secretaries from every state police, various police organizations, CAPFs, NIA, NCB, CBI, SPG, NDRF, EOW, CID, SB Communication and Technical Services, and all the academicians to the serene and beautiful ambience of CAPT for this conference. So this conference will focus on some of the emerging technologies that pose threat to LEAs and also provide opportunities to combat crime, and its recommendation be brought up to the higher echelons for policy formulation. As our Honorable Prime Minister in his address told the heads of all state, union territories, police, central paramilitary and intelligence agencies to use technology to their advantage by upgrading their systems and training their personnel in emerging technologies. Now, as per the tradition of this academy, I request Director Sir to present book to the chief guest. Gentlemen, in this academy, we preserve nature. Instead of floral greetings, we welcome our guests with the presentation of books. Thank you, sir. Now, before inviting the Director CAPT for the opening remarks, let me introduce him briefly. Sir is very renowned figure and everybody knows him. Now I request from Director Sir for his opening address. Over to you, sir.
Chief guest of today's program, Shri Rishi Kumar Shukla, former DG Madhya Pradesh and Director CBI, and my Guruji, and dear colleagues. I take this opportunity to welcome you all in the Academy. Even though this is named as the Central Academy for Police Training, we have focused on almost all pillars of the criminal justice system. We regularly get officials from the jail department, from the prosecution department, and even the judiciary who come here, interact with us and discuss and get trained on a lot of topics, lots of courses that we organize. And the courses that we organize are usually not akin to the courses that are being offered in the traditional academies, traditional institutions. So, for example, we teach soft skills. So, the Academy also provides a platform to the various stakeholders on discussion on various topics relating to drug law, relating to traffic, relating to prosecution, and this is the first conference on emerging technologies. So, before I begin, I would like you to have a look at a small clipping from a 2017 movie called Slaughterbots. Shefali. I guess many of you would have seen this movie, but 2017, what is very, very interesting is that this concept of whatever is happening in the movie is at least about 6 years old.
Customer pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people, people do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now, that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. These are available today.
So what is very, very interesting in here is that besides the technology, he says this can annihilate half the population of a city, the bad half. So when will we become bad half from good half? No one knows. So that is one of the moot questions that that I am trying to find an answer for. What is very interesting is that when we started our career sometimes in 1992, the big thing in technology was CCIS, and on a 386 machine in a district, the data was being entered, and from CCIS we turned into CIPA, and from CIPA to CCTNS. But insofar as technology is concerned, this is one of the major improvements that we have done. The other things that we are doing presently is through the dial 100 or 112 mobile data terminal in one of our vehicles. We have computer-aided dispatch again, which is something like what happens in call center 100 or 112. Then some of us are using geographical information systems, especially in the CAPS. We are using it to plan our operations. Then certain record management like CCTNS, many local polices have created their own record management system. NAFIS now, AFIS started sometimes about 20 years back, but now NAFIS, which is an automated fingerprint identification system on a national level, has been rolled out and is being used. And certain mobile applications that we have created in state polices and certain CAPFs. This is what is our exposure to technology. But the newer technologies, that some of which we are going to discuss today and tomorrow, is artificial learning, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Something which you saw in the movie. Predictive policing is something that has been on almost all IPS officers' brains for the past 13 years. But unfortunately, despite our best efforts, we have not been in a position to predict successfully anything. So that requires a lot of thinking, a lot of energy into it. Drones we have been using, but the capacity of a drone is tremendous, but what we are still using it as one man flying the drone, getting certain information and its interpretation, whereas a lot many things in a drone can be automated. Virtual and augmented reality is again something that we are going to think about, speak about. 3 days, 4 days back, there was a newspaper report that in Colombia, trial of a particular offense was conducted in virtual reality in a metaverse. So metaverse is something that we are going to discuss. Blockchain, even though it is a old technology now, at least about 15 years old, yet its implementation insofar as the custody of evidence is concerned can be explored. Biometric technologies, आज भी यूज़ हो रहा है, बायोमेट्रिक अटेंडेंस वगैरह होता है, बट इन सो फार एज आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ अ क्रिमिनल इज यूज्ड, वी आर नॉट मच यूजिंग इट. There are many challenges insofar as implementation of these newer technologies is concerned, whether as we as a user or we as an investigator. There are many challenges, and first of them is privacy concerns. So I was speaking to Anurag outside, and he has created a system for IPDR analysis. So he told me, कि sir, certain IPDR would also tell you which room number this telephone call, on an IP call has been initiated. So this is extremely interesting. So, and why should anyone know if I have made a call that in which room was I staying? But just imagine, we were speaking, this movie was speaking about the bad half and the good half. So who is good half and who is bad half? So privacy concerns are there. Then there are bias and discrimination. Cost. The other day I was speaking to a younger colleague, and whatever we are doing, whatever we are amount of money that we are pumping, we are discussing about dial 100 and dial 112, wherein we have positioned a person from our police station to be present in a first response vehicle. He goes on the spot, but he doesn't manage the situation. All what he has to do is to tell whosoever is either the perpetrator or the victim to go and visit a police station. But to me, as a senior police officer, to me it occurs that the footfall in the police station should be reduced by implementation of the FRB. My thought. So, cyber security is another challenge that we have to think about. The opportunities that this emerging technologies give to us is, of course, public safety is something that we are here we have joined the service for. So public safety is something I personally feel that implementation of these technologies can certainly enhance public safety to a very large extent. Our efficiency and performance level can increase if we use these technologies to our effect. For example, the CCTNS that we are speaking about. And the other day I was telling that when we, not only we, even the head constable or the constable in a police station, when he has to respond to a WhatsApp message, and it includes me or sir or anyone, we don't give our mobile phone to our PA that kindly type this. We do it ourselves with 2 thumbs. Even the Havaldar does so. But when it comes to CCTNS or use of computer, we are dependent upon a data entry operator. Before we provide certain material to the data entry operator, we take time to write it down, whether it is a statement or whether it is a case diary or whether it is a general diary, we write it down on a piece of paper. So writing, you can experiment it yourself, writing on piece of paper 100 words and typing it on a computer with your single finger, which one is faster? And you realize that you spend more time in writing those 100 words or 200 words or whatever statement that you have taken, and giving it to the data entry operator who makes a lot of mistakes in whatever he is typing. So the onus of whatever is written, whatever is being done, is dependent upon us. So another opportunity that comes to us is improved evidence gathering, and I was speaking about blockchain. The quality of evidence that we have procured or we have found out, and the quality of custody of that evidence can certainly be improved. Officer safety or policemen's safety is something which is at the back of our minds, especially for CAPF officers. Insofar as the civil police is concerned, officer safety is something which is not at all important to us. And for me, even for me, about 20 years back, 15 years back, it was not very important until I served immediately beneath Sir. And one of the first things that we had spoken about in the anti-terrorist squad was officer safety. That what we are doing, what we are going to do, is a very, very high-risk job, and we need to be extremely safe in whatever we are doing. But despite these opportunities and challenges that are in front of us, it takes a lot in terms of resources to implement or use these technologies for our effect, for our good or for the public good. They would require a lot of investment in infrastructure. I do not know how many of you know what is the cost of upkeep of the CCTNS, which is a major hardware/software input in the police. But there are other technologies also which we are going to use. What would be the price of that investment? It has to be looked into. One other thing that is very, very dear to me is development of policies for usage of these technologies. So we have started saying that, okay, for a patrol, everyone has to wear a body-worn camera. बहुत सारी जगह हो गया ना ऐसा. But we have not made a policy. So whenever he has misbehaved with a person, he can always conveniently put it off. And whenever he is doing a good job, he'll put it on. So we have to decide and make policies insofar as usage of these technologies is concerned. There are other issues also which all through the 2 days that we are here we'll be discussing, we'll be experiencing a few things. We have tried to, Parvez has tried to create a demo of Metaverse also. And there would be other technologies that would be discussing about. And I personally feel that after the 2 days, we will be in a much better position to appreciate these technologies and to use it for not only the betterment of the law enforcement agencies, but also for the betterment of the society in general. I trust the team here at CAPT has taken good care of you. If you have any problem, any issues, you can directly get in contact with the conference coordinator, Parvez. And in any case, we are also here, we are around, and if there is anything that concerns you, kindly bring it to our notice so that we can adequately take care of that. So these next 2 days are, today and tomorrow are going to be very, very exciting, and I'm looking forward to a greater interaction and understanding with all of you. Those words, thank you so very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your precious words. As we move on with further sequence, please allow me to introduce our honorable chief guest to the audience, Shri Rishi Kumar Shukla. Joined Indian Police Services in 1983 in Madhya Pradesh cadre. He was just 23 years old when he joined the police service and was one of the youngest IPS officer of the batch. After completing basic training, he served in many parts of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. During his 37 years long career in the police service, Shri Shukla displayed a passion for bringing about transformative changes wherever he served, building and strengthening public institutions to deliver safety, security, and services to the common citizens. In 2016, Sir was appointed as the Director General of Police Madhya Pradesh by the government. During his incumbency, he took strict action against corrupt police officers. Sir was the person behind the Dial 100 system of the state. He has also introduced the Anti-Terrorist Squad and Special Task Force to Madhya Pradesh Police. Sir was appointed as the Director of Central Bureau of Investigation in the year 2019. As a Director CBI, efforts of systematic changes were made with a system of close participative supervision of investigation and prosecution of cases. After serving for 2 years in CBI, he superannuated in the year 2021. Shri Shukla is a proud recipient of the President's Police Medal for Distinguished Services and the President's Police Medal for Meritorious Services. Now I request Chief Guest to address the audience. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I am grateful to Shri Pawan Srivastava and the CAPT to call me here. It's always good to be in touch with police officers from across the country. And this being an occasion on which we speak of the emerging technologies, certainly an area where we need to be focusing on very strongly. We, in the last 100 odd years, have seen a tremendous change in the way we have lived. The entire society has changed. Everything has turned upside down. The last 40 years, which I have been with the police in many ways, I have seen the change happening. The change happening year over year. The rate of change has been absolutely humongous. From the time when, let us say about 20 odd years back, when we first started sort of requesting the field police officers that please look at the technology which is coming in. The SHOs and others, they would say, क्यों साहब काम बढ़ा रहे हो, वैसे ही हमारे पास इतना काम है. Today when I retired, I asked them in the investigation, what are you doing? सब CCTV cam footage देख रहे हैं, and we are watching the looking for cyber mobile forensics. So it took as many as 2 decades for the technology to seep into the mainstream of policing. Naturally, things which are moving at such a fast pace out in the outside world, to bring it to an organization like the police, which is vast, is a very difficult task. Yet, we have to do it. We are aware that the system which we have adopted, the criminal justice system, the system is very focused in the sense that, as the director CAPT was saying, that is a very sort of a threatening film which we saw. Who's going to be a bad guy? Who's going to be killed? Nobody knows. Who decides it? I can't decide it. I'm a police person. I can't decide who is guilty. Who will decide it? And if it is to be decided who is guilty, then there has to be a sense of a purposeful law, investigative law, and evidence. So we have to, therefore, take these steps when we try and understand. I will show you a very small clip. Okay. I know in the next 2 days you would be going through a lot of these presentations and things, but I have just some small points to introduce to you. Emerging technologies and police. What are these steps? You see, the first part is awareness of a technology with likely challenges to police work. The 5G has come in, how does 5G impact us? It's just the first part is just awareness. And we have been, over a period of time, being sensitized to very many such technologies which have come in. Then the next phase is that some technology savvy officers, they sort of understand what is happening. They try to see how it can be used in the police. They get acquainted with that. The third is possible solutions are developed. Then the fourth part is which has been happening across the board in security agencies, intelligence agencies, in national security, in anti-terror, in organized crime. There are small elite police teams which are using these solutions. These are the things and I am sure there would be many in this hall, and then many who are not in this hall but who have a tremendous capacity and who are actually using all technologies which are possibly available, not in the market but in the technological field. The purposes are either intelligence and preemptive purpose, which is that you try to preempt something bad which is going to happen to national security or try to develop some information, and detection purposes, you detect a particular crime. And finally, apprehension of criminals, where you have to use technology, find where the person, trace his cell phone, find his location. Now, these 7 steps we have been using over and over again. And I am proud to say that the Indian law enforcement probably is as good as anywhere in the world when it comes to these 7 steps. We are very good. We are probably even better than many Western countries. But thereafter is the situation where we start to fall down sharply. Once we have apprehended the criminals, then the next part, which is what are the challenges of impact of technology on human minds. This is something which we pay no attention to, no heed to. We do not build the extensive capacities in the police agencies. Pavan Srivastava was telling us as to how even now the emergency response system does not know what is to be done. Even now the CCTNS is being outsourced. When he talks of a data entry operator, in most of the police stations, it is somebody who has been hired from the local market who keeps sitting and working and feeding in the case diaries and everything. You know, under the Criminal Procedure Code, all case diaries are now mandatorily put up in the CCTNS. Who does it? It's somebody, some private person who's been doing it on behalf of all the people. But we have not caught up with that. So that part we lag behind, and we lag behind horribly. What do we do to pull it up? The first 7 parts, we can leave it to the elite agencies, the national forces, the state ATSs, and all those very effective people. But the next 7 points, which are the most of challenge for us, and that is where I would also like to suggest to the CAPT and to the BPR&D, the Government of India, these are the points which we must focus on. How do we build extensive capabilities in the police agencies? How do we mainstream the technology utility in police? This is exactly what Pavan was talking about, that even as of now, the CCTV footages are there across the country. Must be at least 1,000 odd cities who are having CCTV cameras and the footages. The usage is very limited. Nobody uses it. Nobody owns those cameras. Nobody owns the technologies. And when the technology is been installed in a district, the district police chief, the commissioner or the SP does not seem to think that it is his baby. He thinks, oh, it's some external thing which of late, in the last 7-10 years, with young sub-inspectors and young DYSPs and young constables who are at least well aware of what's happening, are coming in, these things are changing. A very interesting situation, a case which I came to know, in 2018, a lady DSP who had been sort of inducted in the state police force on, let us say, a wrestling quota. She got posted in the field, and there was a major incident, and she spent about 3 days on the CCTV footages, and personal efforts, brought out the linkages which led to the detection of a very interesting case. But as a system, we are not really able to respond and help the investigators at large. So that is one thing. How do we build up those linkages? The NAFIS, which took probably decades in coming, is a very useful situation. But the usage is still, very, very limited. How do we increase these usages? That is the thing. More critically, how do we use this technology by forensics as evidence? This is where we are absolutely at our weakest. It is the technology, while has become a major player in detection and apprehension of criminals. After the apprehension of criminals, in the investigating part, the technology is lying low. It is not really coming to the fore. It is not coming up as evidence. The laws of evidence are very cumbersome, and this is again something which BPR&D should take up, because the section 65B of the Indian Evidence Act is an archaic thing. It's something which no country in the world follows, but we are following it. We are making the laying down of evidence in a court of law probably the most difficult thing. Why should it be so? This laws amendment, particularly those of the Evidence Act, is something which probably should be taken up as in a mission mode by the BPR&D, involve police officers who have got excellent technological awareness, involve prosecutors, involve forensic scientists, and come up with a suggestion which would help the investigators to put up the technological evidence in a court of law. You are aware of the Bankers Book Evidence Act. Most of you would be aware, police officers at least, not the CAPF people. Are you? The Bankers Book Evidence Act, or are you all technology guys only, not investigators? You are not investigators? None of you? Come on. Eh? Yeah. Then, what is the Bankers Book Evidence Act? Tell me. This act is as old as the 20th century, 1893. It says that if there is a banker's book, there used to be thick ledgers earlier on, now it is all on electronic data. Now that need not be produced in original in a court of law. Okay? That need not be produced in original court of law. The banker can certify that this is what is there in the record, isn't it? Now, if you haven't heard of the Bankers Book Evidence Act, I am sure none of you have heard of this act called the Commercial Document Evidence Act of 1939. This probably is something which is a very significant legal document for purposes of investigation and utilization of technological records in investigation. What does this 1939 Act say? It says that if the Lloyd's Register is the document which keeps what? The records of shipping across the world. If a ship sails, let us say, from Mexico City to India, and the ship's name is MV Kamath, and the Lloyd's Register says that this ship sailed on such and such date, and this ship is carrying such and such cargo, then that particular information from Lloyd's shipping register kept in London would be admissible in Indian court of law without any further evidence. So this is a very important piece of legal, evidence which we can use. For example, now you have traveled here by, let us say, a flight of, let us say, Indigo Airlines. Now, Indigo Airlines has got a passenger manifest. The passenger manifest says that Shri Praveen Mandloi has travelled from Delhi to Bhopal. That should be taken as a piece of evidence without any further need to introduce any other corroborative fact. A commercial document which is kept in a routine case can be and shall be admitted as a fact. There are two parts to that Commercial Documents Evidence Act. One is where it is mandatory. It says, lawyer says this has happened, it has happened. The other thing is that if somebody contests, it is admitted. So these major changes in law can only help this bridging this technological gap in law enforcement. The first part, small elite teams performing wonders, tracing out people from nowhere, bringing out a person from the heart of nowhere, from deep jungles, is a magic which Indian police have done often enough. They have been able to link people based on their digital footprints. They have been able to build organizations just from sitting down on their computers and let us say analyzing the social media. It has been done. It's not a very big thing. They have been able to bring out information from the satellites, from the coastal data. So that is, I'm sure there must be very many in this audience who would have been very good at that. But if you look at police as a law enforcement agency and where it can be more effective in the use of technology, these are the 14 steps which probably we need to do over and over again. And the more people are able to do what small elite teams can do, the better it is for Indian police. So having said this, I will take you to the next part, which is my focus slightly on the legal side, because I thought it was all about investigation. The Supreme Court of India, way back in 2014, said it in so many words. It said that the criminal judicial system is at crossroads. And it says, in this age of science, we have to build legal foundations that are found in science as well in law. So emerging new types of crimes and their level of sophistication, the traditional methods and tools have become outdated. So we have to build in new technologies as evidence. This exactly is what I was trying to emphasize. While I'm sure you would be dealing with most of these small little suggestions which I have, social network forensics, a lot of it is being done here at the national level. I'm sure many states are also doing it. By just looking at a single part of your name, can we sort of create as to how all of us are sitting in this particular hall? Can we do it? Many people have been doing it. There are, in fact, now in the market, there are several softwares which are working on this, and some of them are frighteningly invasive in their way of approaching you. But this is something which is important and of also great investigative value, which you will be sure doing it. Over 50% of data is now on cloud, remote servers. So how do you do it? How do you work on the data privacy and security issues? How do you prevent and protect the integrity of data as well as maintain a custody chain? Pavan was speaking about it. So how do you use blockchain to form custody? Of course, if you give to our criminal lawyers that this is the custody chain, a blockchain of the forensic tools. I'm sure they'll be able to find a way to break it. We are very good at that. This is a very interesting thing. This just thing I'm throwing it to you. DNA gathered from a crime scene can be matched to a suspect, victim. It can also be used to determine what a suspect physically looks like. This is a very interesting technology which is coming in, and it would be absolutely fantastic for criminal investigation if you are able to sequence a DNA sample and say what sort of a suspect would be like. Like you're building up a portrait from the evidence of a witness. Similarly, a DNA sample is now ready to give you what a suspect is looking like. So this is something which is in the probably decades to come, and this is something we are now at FS. Now we are talking of biosensors for fingerprint analysis. How we are able to use the biosensors to minute traces of bodily fluid to identify the suspect, age, medications, gender, lifestyle. So these are again some things which are focused on investigative part, and I think just a couple of more things. You can geolocate a suspect using water and vegetation which is found, or mud which is found in the crime scene. This is also something which is interesting. But the most important thing for me is this: how is the technology impacting human behavior? It is not important as to how many organized terrorists you can apprehend. That you have to. That is a part of your duty, your national security. But how do you ensure that the deviant behavior which is coming in and the impact of technology on it, how is it changing people and their criminal behavior? How can we make use of these developments in behavioral sciences? Now, this is something which probably, if the BPR&D takes up in a big way in the decades to come, because this is an area which we have actually lagged behind. We have never used to understand how human behavior can be really understood and crime be prevented. We talk of predicting crime from artificial intelligence based on what? Based on locations and based on previous crimes and hot spotting on a map and so on and so forth, time things, prediction. We can also predict through human behavior. This is a relatively very new science, just 200 years of understanding criminal behavior. From what we used to understand as the Chicago School of Criminology to the current situation as to are we aware that crime today is being very heavily driven, small crime in the society today, by use of prescription drugs and by online gambling sites. These are the two things which is driving the young people, whether students or not students, to crimes which are going to build up to larger crimes in future and create criminals. So these are two things which are very important. Are we aware of how the online gambling sites, and every day in every city you will find vernacular newspapers carrying frontline page that form this cricket team and win so much of money, and then you find something like a tramadol or something being given at 40% discount by chemists to young students. No student today is going in cocaine or in charas or in brown sugar. The opioids are available, and in the Indian market they are available at a drop of a hat. And these opioids are far more dangerous than any what the Golden Triangle or Afghanistan based opium can produce. It can be made in basements of buildings in Indore, in pharmaceutical companies. But how would you know that? You are not focusing on the behavior of, and that is my signal that I should stop. That's the last slide, yes. That's the last slide. In any case, So my point is, friends, that this is something which we must focus on, and I have come back to this because in my understanding, going back 40 years, I have seen that while the Indian law enforcement is very good at interdicting a situation, you tell me where there is a hardened criminal or organized criminal or a dreaded terrorist, and the police forces will go and they will be able to bring him out of that particular place. You tell me that what is the trend in the ground, I will be able to develop something out of it. This capability we have developed in the last 15 years. Different elite operational investigation teams have come up in different states and in central agencies who are very good at this. Probably many a times I have seen them competing with each other for the same target, and they are very good at it. But on the ground, there are any number of small bits of information lying around you see in your day-to-day life which lead to the situations which will create hardened criminals or dreaded terrorists. Are we able to spot them? Are we able to ready our police person so that they are able to, understand what a social network is? Are they able to understand how basic technology can be used? Are they able to understand how human behavior is changing with the changing technologies? And human behavior is changed completely. They have changed completely. No longer do you see what you used to see 40 years ago, 30 years ago, even 20 years ago. The generations are changing. Today, we have got what is now called as a Generation Z. And the millennials are very, they're very old people. They're supposed to be old people. It's a Generation Z, born in the latter half of the 25 and 2010, who are now taking over the center stage. So that is the change which we have to understand. I'm sure that deliberations in these 2 days would be of great use to all of you and would allow you to go back to your states and throw up some discussions for the policy formulators to take a call on how technology can be better utilized for police purposes. I once again thank Pawan Srivastava and the CAPT for calling me here and allowing me to speak to you people. My best wishes to all of you and my blessings, if I may.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your deep insights and perspectives about the subject, sir. At the end, may I request Director CAPT to present a memento as a token of remembrance to the Chief Guest. Sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request from Shri Amit Atut, Assistant Director CAPT, to propose vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Parvez. First of all, I would like to offer vote of thanks to Shri Rishi Kumar Shukla, IPS, DG retired, for gracing today's opening ceremony of First National Conference on Emerging Technologies for LEAs, Opportunities and Challenges. I also want to thank Shri Pawan Srivastava, IPS, Director CAPT, for conceptualizing the national conference and guiding the team CAPT for its implementation. And on behalf of Director CAPT, I convey my gratitude to all the eminent speakers, police officers, academicians, for sparing your valuable time, and I believe your active participation will set a landmark in recognizing the new realms of opportunities, challenges, and future of policing. In the last but not least, I want to convey my compliments to Shri Parvez Aslam Ansari, Assistant Director, and his team for their sincere endeavor to bring all stakeholders on a common platform to learn about the latest development in technology that will play a pivot role in policing today and in times to come. Thank you.
Now I request from everyone to kindly stand up for national anthem, please.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
May I request the Chief Guest Director, sir, all the officers, dignitaries and participants to join us for the group photo at the entrance of this academy. Please follow the back door, the door behind you, and followed by high tea at lawn. Kindly join there also.